Welcome to Stocks to Watch, our exclusive one-on-one series with executives to help you make informed investment decisions. I'm Ashley Berry, and we're welcoming Chris Frostad, President and CEO of PurePoint Uranium Group, an exploration company focused on the precision exploration of its projects in the Canadian Athabasca Basin, which is the world's richest uranium region. The company is trading on the TSXV as PTU, the OTCQB in the United States as PTUUF. Looking forward to speaking with you today, Chris. Welcome.
Hi, Ashley. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure. So recently, you've highlighted several developments poised to bolster uranium prices. These include France's EDF planning to increase reactor production and significant progress in Sweden and Finland in the nuclear sector. Additionally, there's a growing interest in small modular reactors. So let's break this down. Could you provide more insight into these key developments and the recent trends in uranium prices?
Well, we're certainly seeing a lot more interest, a lot of real interest around the world from different countries who are starting to put a lot of money and time and effort into building reactors. And a lot of that, as you point out, is coming out of Europe. And again, that's been the biggest switch we've seen this time around is the interest in nuclear power that has grown significantly over the last five to 10 years. A couple of months ago, we saw the World Nuclear Association come out with their projections around nuclear power and uranium fuel. And what became quite evident over the next 15 years is where they see the growth in nuclear and the demand for uranium fuel is about twice that of the uranium that we know of right now. So it's a bit of a scramble right now to fill that gap, and it's a fairly significant gap coming at us. As far as small modular reactors are concerned, there's certainly another big feature that the last few years we're seeing a lot of time and money and effort and research going into bringing those things to life. And admittedly, the World Nuclear Association did not include those in their demand numbers. Mm-hmm. So we really are. I think walking into quite a supply gap on the uranium side. And, as we get talking about the uranium prices, et cetera, right now we're seeing that it's not so much an issue of how much it costs, it's if we can get it at all. So it's we're looking at quite a tight market moving forward.
Yes, absolutely. Let's break down what uranium, the popularity of it. Why is it so important? Why is it so critical right now for our investors that may not really know and understand just how critical this is?
Well, nuclear power is now being recognized as a clean and safe energy source as we're all moving towards a net zero carbon-free future, if you will, trying to right the wrongs of our past. And right now, nuclear power makes up about 10% of the world's electricity source. So it's not a small component, and and we're seeing a lot more activity moving towards that. As you pointed out, Europe's been really seems to be surging ahead on this, but in fact, China, Russia, and the United States make up right now more than half of the demand for uranium fuel. Yet they only create about 10% of it. So there's a real market dynamic going on in terms of sourcing uranium and sourcing fuel for these reactors, and it has to be sourced in a long-term fashion. We watch the spot price right now, which is kind of the at-the-market trading of uranium fuel, but most uranium is traded on long-term contracts because you once you turn these things on, you can't be running short of fuel, and there's no substitute for the uranium. So it's going to be quite a dynamic market in that regard.
Let's talk about the redesigned platform for more reliable data coming from the International Energy Agency. As you mentioned, Russia, China, US have been quicker to adopt nuclear power compared to Europe. Europe is gaining momentum, though, as you said. But with countries purchasing more uranium than they currently use in reactors, what does this mean for PurePoint?
Well, it means that as long as the price of uranium has been depressed for quite some time now, about a dozen years, and as a result of excess uranium in the system, excess fuel, and during that period of time, what we saw were mines being shut down, production being decreased, and more importantly, we saw the development of new mines being halted, and certainly any exploration for new uranium sources turned off. Now, as over the last 4 or 5 years, as we see demand come swinging back quite heavily, you can't turn a mine on quite that quickly or find new uranium quite that quickly. So we're talking about years to refill this pipeline, not months. And so in that in that manner, you now are going to be seeing the price of uranium pushed up significantly, purely based on demand and the shortage of supply. The pendulum has swung the other way, and we've hit this tipping point that we've talked about for a number of years now, where this would happen, because the issue with uranium and uranium price is that it's inelastic. And what I mean by that is the uranium fuel in a reactor is a small component of generating a kilowatt of electricity. It's maybe 5 to 10%, so it doesn't matter how expensive uranium gets, it will still be purchased and still be bought. You won't see the demand slow down just because the price got high. So we're only now getting to a price of uranium where you could even start considering turning on new mines or building new mines. And the upside is endless. So where we're now hitting in the last 2 months, again, this tipping point, we've seen prices go from $60 to well over $80. It's hit historically $120, $140, and could go well beyond that quite easily in the near term.
Well, listen, your dedication to advancing this clean technology is obviously very admirable. What's the expected uranium potential of your projects in the Athabasca Basin, based on rough order of magnitude estimates?
Well, everything right now in the basin, because the ore grade is so significantly higher than what you find in the rest of the world. You're typically mining uranium at about 0.5% ore grade. In the basin, we're pulling it out of the ground well north of 1%, and in many cases 10%, 20%, 50%. So it's quite a find when you do find them. So as we've got in our case, in PurePoint's case, we've got a very extensive portfolio of projects right across that region. We have relationships with two of the largest uranium producers in the world, and we have a lot of money coming into the sector right now. We just closed a financing for another $4 million that allows us to do extensive work out in the field in terms of finding that uranium. And what we've seen historically is where there is a true find, you see equity prices jumping almost immediately 400%, and then continue to rise from there, because these ore bodies, when you do find them, are highly rich and very, very worth high degree of value.
Well, congratulations on the recent close. That's big news, certainly a milestone here at the end of the year to continue operations. And it sounds like you will be doing more exploring. So why should uranium exploration companies like PurePoint receive a larger portion of investors' portfolios?
Well, probably threefold. First of all, as I mentioned, you have the ongoing support of the uranium market in general. So I think your resource stocks in general are fairly speculative at best, and see a lot of volatility. And I think with the support right now we're seeing in the uranium market, you're really minimizing a downside there. In our case, as I mentioned, we've got a vast portfolio of projects where they're all being drilled or drill ready for the coming year, and we have great partners. So I think we've maximized our opportunities to make that next big discovery. And certainly now that we have the money, and the money's in the bank, and we know what the upside can be in terms of magnitude, I think PurePoint's a great opportunity.
Well, Chris Frostad, always a pleasure. President and CEO of PurePoint Uranium Group. We wish you the best of luck. Trading on the TSXV as PTU, and again, the OTCQB in the US as PTUUF. Thanks as always. We look forward to sharing more exciting updates from your company with our audience. Have a great day, Chris.